Hi, my name is Vincent Algar. I'm the CEO of Tennant Minerals. We are operating a copper and gold project in the Barkly region of the Tennant Creek, near Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory of Australia. Cautionary statements. This, the company's been around for a few years. It listed with this asset as its base. We'll talk a little bit about the Bluebird assets and the Barkly assets. Share price currently around 0.6 of a cent. We've recently raised just over $500,000 in a small, sophisticated placement. So we're sitting with over $1 million in cash. And an enterprise value of about $4 million. Given the asset at Bluebird, this is a real opportunity for new investors. In terms of the company strategy, we're working on copper and gold, two things that occur together in the ore bodies in the Tennant Creek area. Copper is obviously essential for civilization and global energy transition applications. New copper discoveries like Bluebird are very rare. Particularly in small high-grade bodies, such as we see in the Tennant Creek area, which are very high value. When coupled with gold, the recoverable gold and recoverable copper, these make for very attractive ore bodies when economics are applied later down the track in calculations and other studies. Gold prices are very high at the moment, and that seems to be holding steady with the state of the world. And the copper price is holding its own at around $10,000 a ton. So where are we? You can see from the inset map, we're in a world-class location, central Barkly region, which is halfway between Alice Springs and Darwin in the Northern Territory. The region covered in green on the screen is a well-known and very well advanced mining area, which was mined for about 30 to 40 years and developed some major companies. The ore bodies in the area are known as Tennant Creek style IOCGs, iron oxide copper gold deposits, and they occur as either copper gold together in chalcopyrite ores or as gold only ores. Now, we've had multi-million ounce deposits in this area, Warrego, Nobles Knob, Pico, or copper and gold deposits that have covered the area and been extremely productive over many years. Bluebird, which is in the tenement block on the right-hand side of the screen, the red squares. Bluebird is a new discovery by Tennant Minerals, which was a greenfields discovery, the one, I think the first in over a decade in that area, which showed extremely high potential to be another Tennant Creek style production ore body. We look forward to being able to develop our studies on this project and show that to be the case as we move forward. Bluebird itself is an iron oxide copper gold deposit hosted in an ironstone. It's folded, and we've had some significant hits. You can see on the screen 63 meters at 2 and 30 meters at 6% copper and 6 grams of gold. So this ore body is able to deliver significant widths and grades as we work through it. We've been developing drilling through the ore body over the last 3 or 4 years, and we are reaching a point where we can define the first mineral resource. Mineralization occurs within those ironstone bodies, which is typical of the region. There's a lot of iron oxide mineralization here, which in our case is mainly hematite, and that allows us to liberate the material relatively easily. The mineralization, copper and gold mineralization, occurs mainly in chalcopyrite throughout. Over the last few years, the company's been building up a significant series of gold intersections, as visible on the screen, and we've been able to define the geology quite clearly by virtue of the lode style, these multiple colored lodes you can see on the screen, each one defined quite discreetly, but part of a much larger package of overall mineralization, which trends to the south and to the west and down dip and down plunge. So drilling here, while we've done a couple of programs this year, We've started to close off some of the areas. Unfortunately, didn't have all the results we wanted to get, but what we can see is that a number of regions remain open, and the arrows on the screen show where the mineralization remains open for growth. Importantly, the mineralization is quite intense when it starts, about 40 or 50 meters below surface, and then it starts to get really intense for a significant period, putting us in a view that there might be an open pitable opportunity here for the copper and the gold. We've done successful metallurgical test work showing that with relatively straightforward processing, we can recover a economic style concentrate, commercial concentrate, which is around 24 to 29% copper and 1.5 to 4 grams of gold, which is a very saleable product and gives us comfort to move forward with our study work. So one of the things we've been doing this last year is generating new targets outside of Bluebird with the purpose of finding a second Bluebird in the area or other gold deposits. What we can see from this map is we've targeted two in particular, an area called Bluebird East, and our recent announcements outline what we found there. And then more recently, we put out an announcement on a project called Babbler, which is a large-scale gold opportunity down in the south. It's quite a different target. It's in slightly different rocks, but we believe it's a precursor and a marker or a targeted area for us to work in for looking at some fairly widespread gold mineralization drilled in the 1970s. The Bluebird East anomaly, why do we like it? It looks a lot like Bluebird looked above the weathering profile. So you can see on the diagram, there's a little dotted line at the base of weathering. That base of weathering has this very similar signature between the surface and the base of weathering over Bluebird, but there are no holes below that target over Bluebird East. Having reviewed the historical drilling over that area, not only is it widespread, but it is very, very cohesive. It produces an anomaly of a similar size and scale. And it's quite coherent over the top of a lode. And you can see from the diagram on the right where we've modeled those two lodes. We think there may be a relationship between Bluebird and Bluebird East, and we look forward to going and putting some holes below that line and with the opportunity to find another Bluebird underneath. We think that opportunity for Bluebird-like anomalies exists in a number of places along strike here. Most recently, we've outlined the historical work done at a prospect we're calling Babbler, which is to the south of Bluebird by about 7 kilometers. In the 1970s, some 7 drill holes were drilled into this prospect. 6 drill holes were built into this prospect, and they encountered some very interesting mineralization, gold mineralization in the region of 10 to 20 meters of mineralization, about half a gram, with some areas running over a gram, and some quite significant areas of copper. So we had 39 meters. We had copper mineralization over quite significant widths with 72 meters, 56 meters at 251 ppm copper, which is significantly above background copper, with some grades up to 0.12% copper. So we're very excited about what the Babbler prospect is telling us. It's in the rocks immediately above the more regular finds in the Tennant Creek area. But we believe there's a body of technical work that supports further exploration in this area, which we'll be following up with geophysics and then some shallow drilling. Of course, the company, for those who are following us, understand we're in a strategic alliance with CUFE Limited and Emerson Resources to develop our resource base and then evaluate a multi-processing facility for copper and gold and other critical minerals in the area. With a lot of activity in the area, we've continued to progress through our scoping study work as a group, and we're getting close to releasing that scoping study for each of the companies. From there, pending a positive outcome, we'll move quickly into a pre-feasibility study. The point of the strategic alliance and the collaboration objectives are about determining a resource base, developing a mining schedule, confirming a processing pathway for the shared concentrates, and then finding a location for that, and then developing a cost estimate and looking at operating structures by which we can share our put our shared resources together and reopen a facility in this spectacular mining area. So what is our timeline? Our timeline of activity over the coming months, obviously working on that initial mineral resource estimation for Bluebird, and then getting scoping study result out for our part of the copper alliance with CUFV and Emerson Limited. From there, we'll begin environmental baseline studies and heritage agreement work on licensing to move the project forward from there. In addition, first pass drilling at Bluebird, first pass drilling at Babbler, and then extension drilling at Bluebird as required to enlarge that resource. We believe there's a lot of opportunity still there. Feasibility studies and permitting for the alliance will continue along the way. So all in all, we believe that Tennant Minerals offers a ideal exposure to copper and gold in a growing area of the rejuvenation of the Tennant Creek mineral field.